Hey everyone, it's Marla. Welcome back to Twinstrology, where we talk about twin flames, astrology, and ascension. And today I want to talk about the new cycle that is starting. So last year, you'll probably remember I posted a video on the 9-year cycle that was ending that had started in the spring of 2013. It was around that time that a lot of twins were waking up and that cycle was then coming to a completion, and now we see the new cycle begin to happen. And we've seen as we came to the end of that cycle, or we're coming to the end of that cycle, the important shifts, because we are now really closing the gap on the separation wound. And of course, we'll be working on that throughout the year and probably a couple more years going into that. But we are going to start to see more and more shifts around the closure of the separation wound. So, what is going on right now that is beginning a new cycle is asteroid Union. And Union is going into Aries on February 26th at around 8:11 a.m. And so this is starting a whole new cycle for that asteroid. And Union goes in 5-year cycles. But from what I've seen, it's more important to look at the 10-year cycle, which encompasses 2 union cycles, because the 10-year cycle then lines up with the nodal axis cycle. And when the asteroid Union aligns with the nodes and some of the bigger planets, then that really creates the impetus for change for all of us. So I will mention a couple dates later on in the video, but I want to just go over some of the things that we can expect to happen. So what I'm going to do just for ease in this video is I'm just going to read from some of the notes that I took, and I was doing some automatic writing. So a lot of this is semi-channeled. I'm not going to say it's 100% channeled, but it was a lot of it coming through my guides. And I've got several pages and I want to get through it efficiently. And I think this is the best way for me to do it. So this new union cycle is connected to a greater awakening cycle on Earth. And yes, union is important for twins, but everyone wants to experience union or lack of separation. And this goes along with what I channeled at the end of last year, and that the feminine was anchoring the shift within the separation wound. And this year is seeing twins focusing on moving out of the consciousness of separation, and that is going to have an effect on the collective. So what's really going on with the collective is their feminine energy is awakening within them. And they are wanting to live more from their heart. They're wanting to be more creative. And people are going to start desiring more from their life than they ever have before. And twin flames and other spiritual people who have been experiencing the awakening for a longer point in time are now being called to act as guides for the people that are now awakening. And that's why service and purpose are so important right now. And those of you that are embodying the feminine energy are really going to see this year as bringing in a lot of shifts in your purpose and mission and what you're doing to be of service to humanity. So those feminine energies that have been on this cycle have been working towards anchoring this frequency of the divine feminine. And there will be more people coming that will also start anchoring more of this feminine. It's a growing energy. But those that have now successfully anchored enough of their feminine energy within will now have their counterparts anchoring the feminine energy within their masculine energy. So I think it's kind of important to say here that when you first start awakening, most people were actually in their masculine energy. Even if you were a woman, even if you were here as a feminine energy, before we awakened, we're more masculine because that was the patriarchy that we learned. And when you awaken, right, you start embodying the feminine, which is all the heart energy, all the creative energy, letting down like the more structuredness that is masculine energy. And so that segment of the twin flames have reached a strong point of inner balance between masculine and feminine. So that is what is now calling their counterpart to say, okay, now you have to reach new levels within your feminine. And I'm certainly not going to say that those that are embodying the masculine haven't been integrating aspects of their feminine all along, but this is a big push for those that are embodying the masculine to awaken their feminine more. And that whole Mars retrograde was a massive shift to heal the masculine, which within all of us, no matter what frequency you're in. And that is what is really driving this whole shift, is the healing of the masculine that is allowing the feminine to expand and then reach that state of balance. So the masculine that are being called now are being called to embrace their hearts and their own creative energy. And this new feminine energy for them is really going to become a complement to their masculine energy. And they will become more balanced, and they will begin to take on the mantle of the divine masculine more than ever before. Of course, everyone is on a little bit different stage of their journey, but the guide said that despite what people are still focusing on 3D wise with their masculine twin, the masculines are really shifting. And right now is a really tense time for the masculine. If you're watching this video in the days that I release it, then you might be really experiencing some heavy energy, and a lot of that is coming from our masculine energies as Mars prepares to come out of shadow and then really move forward. So there's like a big clearing on for the masculine energy. And I really hope that you guys will watch my Sacred Union reading for March when I post it, because so much came through about how this balance between the masculine and feminine is working out. It's going to be a great companion video to this video. So self-love and forgiveness are really important, and that's the area where both counterparts need to focus right now. And so when both counterparts find their balance, and you could also say that this is a balance between heart and mind, they will begin to make progress towards their unions. So as we said, this was not only for twins, but for the collective energy as well. And more twins will be needed to anchor their light as a counterpoint to the unrest that is going to be happening within the collective. So as people awaken, obviously they have to clear things. And there's going to be things happening within the collective, I feel, especially around fall, that is meant to help people awaken. And yeah, that could cause some unrest and more purging. And so twin flames are being called now to expand their energetic fields and really anchor into the sense of union to be the counterpoint to this. So the collective has chosen to experience certain things that will make people question more, question reality. And these things will bring up shadow and expose things that have been hidden. So, I'm not going to go into details of what those things are. I will say one thing, and that I did get that there'll be some exposure of spiritual things, perhaps, like perhaps previously undiscovered documents, for example, of a spiritual nature being found and being exposed or disclosed for people. So they went on to say that it's important to understand that everyone that's incarnated here chose to hide these things from ourselves. Okay, we weren't being the creator beings that we are meant to be. We were not in our power. And so we chose to block certain things. And now it's time to take the blinders off. And there will be many highs and lows, yet each low will take us higher. So again, no matter where you are in your spiritual journey, there's these layers that we are peeling off and getting closer and closer to what the truth is and what the true nature of reality is. Remember that at the core, union is a lack of separation. So whether you are with your counterpart or not in the physical reality, you both do still hold an anchor point on earth, and this is very important. Yet as both twins balance and come back to their heart, and therefore remember who they truly are and why they are here, their draw towards each other will intensify. So this is what is going to start bringing twins back together again. The balance, but also the ability to be in the heart. This goes for both twins. Because as I said, the feminine energy isn't always 100% in their hearts either. We're all learning. But it's like, again, with the layers, these layers keep coming off our heart and exposing more and more. And with that, anchoring more feminine, anchoring more trust, more intuition, more understanding about the true nature of reality. And of course, like I always want to make clear too, that it's never about one, because the masculine and the feminine, they need each other. Okay, so the point is always to find a balance. And it makes sense, obviously, that as we balance this inwardly, that then is what we experience externally through the reunion and reconnection with our twins. Those that have been holding the masculine frequency, as they allow their inner feminine to rise, will feel their hearts opening. They will want to reconnect with their counterpart because they will not be holding back the love as much as they have been. Remember, it's the masculine that wants to protect. And that has a lot to do with the shift. The masculine energy has being the protector and wanting to protect ourselves from hurt. And so often our inner masculine will push love away, because with love, with opening our hearts, there's always that chance that we could get hurt. And the pain of the many incarnations now subconsciously is like, oh no, don't take a chance on that. Oh yeah, it could be good, but the risk involved is too much. The risk is too high. I don't want to get my heart broken. And this is where we're really making that shift. And Yeah, that was something that came through in the collective reading for March, is like the masculine is wanting to just remove all the boundaries and let go of the rigidness and begin to live more from the heart, live more in the moment. And as we balance that inner masculine and feminine, we are more willing to take a risk in all areas of life, because it begins to matter less that you might get your heart broken. When you really step out of the concept of separation, when that no longer ceases to exist for you, then you don't have to worry about getting your heart broken, because your heart is already whole within yourself. Okay. And I'm not going to say that you are never going to experience pain, but part of this process is learning to realize that we're stronger than we think, and we can deal with the pain. We can deal with heartbreak when it comes up. For example, when someone close to us dies, that's heartbreaking, but life continues to go on, and we heal and we move through it. And so this is the lesson that we're learning, that we can take risks, not just with love, but with our purpose too. We can take a risk by, I don't know, starting a new business. We can take a risk by saying something we've never said before. We can take a risk by doing something different, and know that we're strong enough that whatever happens, it's going to be okay, that we have the strength and power to handle it. So over the spring, that masculine part of us is going to be clearing those patterns that still make it difficult to be more heart focused. And those that have held the feminine frequency will need to heal their inner masculine. Forgiving the inner masculine is so important. This is what we're all working on, whether you're masculine or feminine. Subconsciously, and yet often consciously, there is this feeling of being unsafe with masculine energy. Now, for this, I'm speaking to those in the feminine mostly. But because of the trauma, the collective trauma, the ancestral trauma that we're carrying in the feminine energy, there is subconsciously a fear of the masculine, because this has to do with different ways that the feminine has been persecuted. And in most cases, men have been the perpetrators of that persecution. And that's everything from the witch trials to being raped to men having 100% control over their wife. Okay, and so these all created these subconscious fears of the masculine within and externally. So on a more subconscious basis, what we're clearing is the belief that the masculine didn't protect us, which is the role of the masculine energy, right? As I was just saying, when you don't feel protected by your inner masculine, then the feeling of being vulnerable becomes too overwhelming. You don't want to go there. That makes it difficult to open your heart when you fear vulnerability. So this has been a lot of tension between our inner feminine and masculine, because the feminine is pushing us to grow, to speak out, to be more spiritual, to anchor deeper into mission. And the inner masculine at that time was going, oh no, that's dangerous. You could be persecuted. You could be hurt. You can't trust people. People are out to get you. And there's been that push-pull inside that has translated externally, right? That's how our inside has been separated. And that's why we've been separated from our twin. there's been this distrust of each other. The masculine distrusts the feminine as well, and the feminine distrusted the masculine because of this imbalance. But now, as we anchor more of this balance and we clear more and more of the separation internally, then we're shifting. Now, what's important to remember about this is right now, part of what the masculine is clearing is the inability to protect. So both within and without. So there's a lot of this past life, multidimensional energy coming through that the masculine, whether they're conscious of it or not, is that I am not worthy of being with that person because I remember on some level where I didn't protect them and they got hurt. And there's so many different scenarios. Again, like witch trials, wars are another big one. Or even in those lifetimes where perhaps you were married to other people and you could have been married to someone abusive and they had to sit there and watch and they weren't able to do anything to protect you. And that's very painful wound for the masculine energy. And a lot of what they're clearing has to do with that. And so you will be feeling a lot of heavy energy being released. And you want to use that to look within yourself as well and work with your own inner masculine and feminine. So when I'm talking about forgiving the masculine, of course, it's not just about something that happened between you in this lifetime, right? This is a multi-dimensional energy. It's big. It's something that you probably can't even understand on a mental level. So trying to hold on to not wanting to forgive it's not good, and it's going to harm your own inner balance because you won't trust your inner masculine as long as you don't trust your external. These things are a mirror, right? When we talk about mirrors, your internal masculine is a mirror to your external masculine. I posted a whole video about this that I can link below if you want to go into that deeper. But this is what has to be cleared, this persecution. Now, for the masculine, saying that this is multidimensional and there's all these lifetimes, but there's also now in this lifetime. And so some of them may just be focusing on how in this lifetime they didn't protect you because they ran away. So I'm using that term protection in quotes because I'm using it very loosely, right? What I mean in general is that in most cases, the masculine hasn't been there, right? But that's all by design. And we have to let that go and move on to end the separation. So for the feminine with your twin, those barriers are often still being kept up, and it can be very subtle. It can be very subconscious. You may not realize that you're doing it, but it's there. So along with the inability to forgive, there might be a desire to punish. And then this becomes self-punishment. And that creates a limitation within you. Okay, and that's going to affect your purpose. In order for us to level up in our divine purpose, we need to clear the fear of persecution. So that's a lot of what the feminine will be embodying this year. And they're only able to do that because the masculine is clearing their part of, I'm sorry, I wasn't there to protect you. Which of course is like, it's a silly thing to think anyways. In certain situations, of course, like no one could protect us. It was what it was. But still, we take that on and we embody the pain and the blame and the guilt and the shame of all of those wounds. So yeah, that growth into mission for the feminine would not be possible without your counterpart doing their work to heal themselves. So that's really what we need to focus on. And that's how we come out of separation, right? As I said, this whole thing is contingent upon how much we can step out of all the concepts of separation and begin to move into the new idea of union. And we're always connected and we're always one, no matter what things look like on this 3D level. So to wrap it up here, for those that have been on this journey for this 10-year cycle or more, a lot of you are going to start to see progress with your twin. Likely these things will start off with communication, because communication is something that's going to be healing a lot. And watch for the Mercury retrogrades. Especially, I think there's a Mercury retrograde happening in April or May, I want to say. I'm feeling like that's going to be an important time of healing communication. As I said in another video, communication can happen at any time. But I think it's important for the feminine to stay balanced, okay? Has twins begin to reconnect, it's important to stay balanced and not jump too far ahead. don't try to then like attach and create a bunch of expectations around it, and stay in that flow. Let it evolve. It's all about trusting God. So part of that shift for those twins is that enough of the karma has been cleared. Like not all our karma, but perhaps 51% of our karma, that we now hold a new frequency, or we will be holding a new frequency as these Syrian codes start coming in. And yeah, we're moving more towards authenticity and becoming that creator, becoming guides for other people. And in turn, with the expansion of our service work, is abundance and rewards. So some important dates, obviously the 26th, because we have Union moving into Aries. Union will be on the Sabian symbol, a woman arises from the sea, a seal is embracing her, which is that Sabian that is about manifestation, because that is that Aries point. That is the like that woman is suddenly being manifested. It's being made real. That Aries point is where we move from spirit into the tangible. Another important thing about this year, okay, and like I said, this is a longer cycle, so I'm not going to talk about everything that's going to happen over the next 10 years, but I want to focus more on the spring, and then I'll be talking about other things as we move on in the year. But one of the important things about Union in its first year of a new cycle is it's in direct motion for most of the year. So every year Union goes through a retrograde, but this year Union will be direct all year until December 17th, and it will go retrograde on the 24th degree of Leo, which is going to be where the Venus retrograde happens. Now, obviously Venus retrograde will be over by then, but I'm willing to bet that there's going to be some kind of energetic connection to that. So as Union goes into Aries on the 26th, Chiron is on the 13th degree of Aries as well. And that's the important Sabian a snake coils near a man and a woman. And I've talked about that one a lot because Chiron has been transiting over that degree for several years. But guess what? This is the last time Chiron is going to be on that degree for a very long time. So from February 11th to March 3rd, or 3-3, Chiron will be on that degree, and then that will be it for Chiron. Now, and Chiron represents the healing. So to me, that degree is very close to twin flame energy. It's about the Kundalini awakening, the balance of the masculine and feminine. And Chiron going over that Sabian for these years has been helping us bring this balance. Now Chiron is able to move away because enough of us have reached that point of inner balance. And then on March 23rd, Union will be on the 13th degree of Aries. And so that might bring an important shift in our energy as well. And then we want to pay attention to the Aries solar eclipse. That's going to be the second new moon in Aries. Oh my gosh, I didn't write down the date of that. I think it's in April. I'll try to put in the comments below the date of the Aries solar eclipse. But this is activating the union. So remember in the 2013 video, I talked about how union was aligned with the eclipse and the nodes, and it also was going through these Saturn cycles. So at that eclipse, which will be at 29 degrees, 50 minutes of Aries, union will be less than 1 degree away. So eclipse union conjunction. And not only will union be conjunct at eclipse, but Vesta and the North Node will be conjuncted as well. So that will really be kicking off this new cycle. At the same time as that eclipse, Mars is going over Sirius. So as I mentioned in my Sirius shift videos, when we have the planets going over Sirius, which is at 14 degrees Cancer, we are going to be receiving codes. So at the same time, that Mars energy, something about our masculine, is going to be receiving Sirius codes. Now, throughout the spring, Union is going to be traveling with Vesta. Vesta is the twin flame asteroid. And Vesta and Union will be bringing in heart-opening activations and moving us more towards our sacred purpose. Vesta is the sacred flame. It's that flame in our heart. Vesta is also about service as well. So that's why I say it's like the twin flame asteroid, because Vesta is the fire, the flame. She's the keeper of the hearth. And it's that flame that's in our heart and then inspires us into divine service. And of course, the Vestal Virgins performed so many services. In Roman times, later times, the Vestal Virgins really gave their life, right, to service. They were the keepers of the fires in Rome. And those women agreed to remain virgins their whole life and dedicate themselves to their work and keeping the sacred fire going. So Vesta is a very powerful symbol. And with that connection, Vesta's flame is for sacred union with God first. And our twin comes to us when we are more fully aligned with God's purpose. So that's another reason why unions are getting stronger and becoming more possible, is because as we get more involved, more dedicated to our spiritual service, whatever that is, we are aligned with God's purpose for us, and then we can bring the twin in. Another important day that I mentioned, or perhaps the most important day, is May 20th. That is when Venus is crossing Sirius. And at the same time, Union is going to be making a conjunction with Uranus. And so where during the last cycle, Uranus or Union made a lot of aspects to Saturn, I'm feeling in this cycle, we need to watch the aspects that Union will make to Uranus. So it'll be a conjunction then, and then when Union goes retrograde in Leo at the end of the year, that will be in a square to Uranus. That's bringing up the change in what Union means to us. And then lastly, on August 18th and 24th, Union itself will be crossing the star Sirius, and that will be bringing in some activations for us. So lots here to look forward to. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to connect with me, my website is linked below. If you would like to offer a donation in exchange for the videos that I post, those are always greatly appreciated. Thank you to those of you who have sent me donations. You are much appreciated. I will put the link below. Sending you all so much love, and we'll speak to you again soon.